everyone. Today we are going to see the next types of reaction. So before going on, let us see what is a reactivity series. Just brush up what is a reactivity series. So in smaller classes you have studied that a reactivity series is an arrangement of elements based on their ability to react with water, acids and other substances. So the most reactive metal or element is at the top and the least reactive metal is seen at the bottom of the series. It means that the elements that are at the top of the table or the series, they are highly reactive, and those at the bottom, they are the least reactive, and then they are not easily taking part in the chemical reaction. So there are metals and hydrogen in a group and non-metals in another group. So hydrogen and metals, in that potassium is the highly reactive metal and the least reactive metal is the platinum. In the case of non-metals, fluorine is the most active and iodine is the least reactive or least active element. Okay, so based on this we are going to see the next type of reaction, and remember that the highly reactive element can easily replace the least reactive element from its place from a compound. Okay, based on that we are going to see the next type of reaction, and that type of reaction is known as the displacement reaction, where a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its position. Then such a type of reaction is known as displacement. What is displacement? Removing one element from its place and another element comes in its place. For example, copper sulfate and zinc. We have seen that copper is less reactive than zinc. So what will zinc do? Since zinc is more reactive than copper, zinc will remove copper from its place in copper sulfate, and zinc will take its place and form zinc sulfate, and copper will be removed out. This type of reaction is known as displacement reaction. So here clearly you can see that one is a compound, copper sulfate is a compound and zinc is an element or a metal, isn't it? Note it. Now another type of reaction is double displacement reaction or double decomposition reaction. Here we have two compounds, AB is a compound and CD is another compound. You can see that A moves to C's place and C moves to A's place, and these two elements change their places to give new compounds, isn't it? AD is another compound and CB is a new compound. So a reaction in which two compounds in a solution, very important, react to form two new compounds by mutual exchange of radicals. You know what is a radical, isn't it? So by mutual exchange of radicals, two new compounds are formed by two already present compounds. And this type of double displacement or double decomposition reactions, we have two types. One is the precipitation reaction and the other one is the neutralization reaction. What is a precipitate? We have seen that in certain cases when two substances or two compounds in the aqueous state means they are little diluted, isn't it? They react to form a compound or a salt which is insoluble in the solution, and one of the product is a insoluble salt which is known as the precipitate. This insoluble salt is known as the precipitate, and such a reaction in which one of the product is a precipitate is known as a precipitation reaction. A reaction in which two compounds in their aqueous state react to form an insoluble salt or a precipitate, as one of the product is known as precipitation reaction. For example, barium chloride reacts with sodium sulfate to give white precipitate of barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. Second example, copper sulfate reacts with hydrogen sulfide to give black copper sulfide plus sulfuric acid. These are the examples of precipitation reaction. Hope it is clear. Next type is neutralization reaction. Neutralize means we know two types of things, acids and bases. When we combine or when we allow an acid to react with a base, the product form is neither a base nor an acid. It is neutral. It does not have any plus or H plus or OH minus. There is no such charges in it, and such a product is known as the salt. Okay, the product of an acid and a base gives a salt which is neither acidic nor basic, and such a reaction between an acid and a base to form salt and water is known as neutralization reaction. Water is neither an acid nor a base. Okay, normal condition. So what is neutralization reaction? The reaction between an acid and a base to form salt and water is known as neutralization reaction. And this reaction takes place because in acid we have H plus ions, isn't it? And in a base we have the OH minus ions. And this H plus ions in the acid and OH minus in the base combines together to form a neutral water. Okay, neutral water. NaOH plus HCl, it is a strong base, and this one is a strong acid, and they will give us sodium chloride, which is neither acidic nor basic, plus water. Okay, NaOH, OH has a minus sign, H plus will give, both this will combine together to plus H plus OH minus and Na plus plus Cl minus to give the salt and water. Okay, then in certain cases this double displacement or double decomposition reaction may also give gas as one of the product. Okay, not only precipitate, it sometimes it will give gas as a product. For example, ferrous sulfide reacts with sulfuric acid to give ferrous sulfate plus hydrogen sulfide, which is a gas. This arrow shows that the gas is released. When sodium hydrogen carbonate reacts with hydrochloric acid, it will give sodium chloride plus water plus carbon dioxide gas, which is evolved. So double decomposition sometimes may also produce certain gases. Okay, then you have to know what is hydrolysis. Hydrolysis, what? It is the process in which a salt and water react to form an acidic or a basic solution. Okay, so what is hydrolysis? Hydrolysis is a process in which a salt and water react to form an acidic or basic solution depending upon the type of the salt, and such reaction is known as hydrolysis reaction. And we, in our daily life, this neutralization reaction has its many uses. Sometimes we have heard about acidity, isn't it? Due to indigestion or improper diet, we feel that problem in our stomach. Sometimes it is known as a gas, and this gas is produced due to acidic nature, or the amount of hydrochloric acid in our stomach increases. So what we have to do in order to reduce that acidity? We know that once we have a base, take a base, when it reaches our stomach, it will react with the excess HCl in our stomach and neutralizes, and we will have a relief from that acidity. So we take some medicines like milk of magnesia sodium hydrogen carbonate, which is a base, and when we take these medicines, they are known as antacids. So such medicines which we take to neutralize the acidity in our stomach are known as antacids. Remember this, antacids. Digene, Eno fruit salt, all these are antacids. Okay, so antacids help us to neutralize the acidity in our stomach and gets us relief from the gas trouble, isn't it? That is neutralization reaction example in our daily life. Another one, when bees or ants, when bees sting us or ants sting it, they release a type of acid known as formic acid into our skin. Actually, it is not the bite, it is that formic acid which gives us that pain. And we know that it is an acid, formic acid. In order to have relief from that sting, what we do is apply slaked lime or baking soda, this is a base, to neutralize that reaction and give us relief from the pain. So these are some of the examples of neutralization reaction we have in our daily life. Okay. Now, we have seen in the beginning how do we know that a chemical reaction is taking place. So many things we have already studied, isn't it? So whenever a chemical reaction takes place, there is a change in energy. Always there is a change in energy. There is a difference between the chemical energies of the reactants and products, and this energy can be in the form of heat, light, sound and electricity. When chemical reaction take place, sometimes energy is absorbed or energy is given out. So many things happen during chemical reaction. So before that, we have to know what is a chemical energy. We know that every substance has its own set of energy or a fixed amount of energy in it, which is in the form of potential energy. We know that potential energy and is referred to as its chemical energy. So the energy that is stored inside an object or in a substance in the form of potential energy is known as chemical energy. When a chemical reaction takes place, this potential energy or chemical energy is released, and it may be in the form of heat, light, electricity, sound, anything. Okay. So what is actually taking place when reaction is going on? When a chemical reaction is taking place, it involves the breaking of bonds between atoms. Sometimes we have to supply energy so that these bonds will break, or sometimes when these bonds break, heat is released outside. Okay, so net effect is sometimes a chemical reaction either is absorbing energy or it is releasing energy. So something sort of this is happening. Sometimes energy is absorbed, we have to give heat, then only chemical reaction will take place. Sometimes by reaction, heat is given out. Okay, so both type of reaction may occur. So depending on absorption or releasing of heat or energy, we divide the chemical reaction mainly into two types. First one is exothermic reaction. Thermal, the word is related to heat. Exothermic, exit, it means energy is given out. So during a chemical reaction, if heat energy is given out, then such a reaction is known as an exothermic reaction. And please note that in an exothermic reaction, the total energy of the reactants is more than that of the products. So in an exothermic reaction, the total energy content of the reactants is more than that of the products. So for example, when carbon burns in oxygen to form carbon dioxide, a lot of heat is produced. That is what is happening when we burn fossil fuels. Large amount of heat is produced, isn't it? So when carbon burns in oxygen to form carbon dioxide, a lot of heat is produced, and we utilize this energy, heat energy, for our purpose. Hope it is clear. Next is the endothermic. Exo, giving out, endo, taking in. So a chemical reaction in which heat energy is absorbed when a chemical reaction is taking place, or we have to supply or give heat energy so that the chemical reaction may occur. Such a reaction is known as an endothermic reaction. When an endothermic reaction takes place or occurs, the temperature goes down. Okay, so exothermic reaction, exit or giving out of heat energy. Endothermic, it is taking in. Okay, it is taking in heat energy. For example, formation of carbon disulfide. When carbon is heated with sulfur at high temperature, this triangle symbol shows we have to supply or we are giving heat. So when carbon is heated with excess sulfur, okay, with sulfur at high temperature, liquid carbon disulfide is formed. We have to give energy. So that is why it is an endothermic reaction. Okay, hope it is clear. Exothermic, endothermic, depending on the absorption or releasing of heat energy. Next one is the photochemical reaction. You have studied photosynthesis. Photo, this word is related to light. So photochemical reaction is a reaction which occurs by the absorption of light energy. For example, plants prepare their food with the help of sunlight, and we have studied about photosynthesis, and this photosynthesis requires sunlight. So such a reaction will take place in the presence of sunlight or the presence of light by absorption of sunlight or any form of light is known as a photochemical reaction. So during photosynthesis, what is happening inside the leaf of the plant? It absorbs or takes in carbon dioxide, then reacts with water in presence of sunlight and with the help of chlorophyll to give glucose, water vapor and oxygen. This is an example of photochemical reaction. Similarly, silver nitrate in presence of sunlight decomposes to give silver, nitrogen dioxide and oxygen. So photochemical reaction, what is it? A reaction which takes place in the presence of light. Okay, then we have electrochemical reaction. Electrochemical, it means we need or we have to give energy in the form of electricity. So reaction that occurs by the absorption of electrical energy is called electrochemical energy. Reaction that occurs by the absorption of electrical energy is called electrochemical energy. So fused potassium chloride on passing current through it breaks into charged particles or ions of potassium and chlorine. So when we pass electric current through potassium chloride, we get potassium and chlorine ions. So here this reaction takes place by the passage of electricity, and such a reaction which takes place due to or with the help of electrical energy is known as electrochemical reaction. Example, we have seen it. So here in today's class we have studied different types of reactions, isn't it? Displacement reaction, double displacement reaction. Then this double displacement reaction, two types, exothermic and endothermic. After that we saw what is a photochemical reaction. Then we saw what is an electrochemical reaction, isn't it? These types of reactions we have already seen. Hope you have understood this. With this we come to an end of this chapter. Hope you have understood it. If you like my class, kindly subscribe to my channel, give a like and share. Okay, thank you all of you.